Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little fella right here, Atlantis, Island of the Gods. Now this is put out by RedImp Games, and it is designed by Krzystof Wolicki. Now this is I guess you could call it a hand management game at its core, but you're also trying to build some temples on different sites and that type of thing in order to appease the deity that you serve, basically. So let's get down to the table. I'll show you how it works, and then we'll come back with some final thoughts in just a few moments. Let's hit it. So here I have a 4-player game of Atlantis, Island of the Gods set up for you. Now the goal of the game is to get your deity's requirements of temples built in each of the 4 regions first. And the person who does that is going to be the winner. Now in order to do that, you have to use different kinds of servant cards that you're going to have in front of you, different kinds of special abilities that the deity presence is going to be having. But you're going to be building in your player color area on each of these different areas determined by what your deity desires. So for example, Athena here wants a level 2 and a level 1 temple on the first area. Then she wants just a level 3 temple on the second area and the third area. And then on the fourth area, she only wants a level 1 temple. And so once you can get those temples built in those specific areas, if you do that first, you're the winner. Now, a round would consist of each player taking 5 actions on their turn, but the first thing that you do on your turn is you draw 3 cards, kind of Ticket to Ride style. So if I wanted to, I can draw this and put it into my hand, and then that automatically replaces like this. And now, I don't know that I want any of these out here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my second card here, and then my third card from the deck. Now, once I've drawn those 3 cards, I now have 5 actions that I can do. Whenever I perform an action, I simply take the token and put it over here next to the next person so that I can keep track of how many actions I have left. The first one is travel. So, traveling is when you're going to be moving the deity presence marker to the region of your choice. So, for example, if I wanted to move it over here to possibly get a assistant to help me later on, I would discard a purple region card and simply move the deity marker over that way. The next thing I could do is build. And building is where I'm going to be taking a dweller card and placing it into my tableau. And then I can build a region in here. Well, with Athena, she wants a level 1 in the 4 area. So I simply take my level 1 and place it right here. And now I have accomplished that specific requirement. Now, the construction costs of the different buildings are such that you have to discard 1 card of the matching color for 1 level. If you have to build a second level temple, then you have to discard 2 cards, and so forth and so on. What the assistants do is they actually reduce the number of cards by 1 that you have to use to construct, and everybody can only have 1 of these in front of them at any point in time. So you do have to keep that in mind as well. Another thing you can do on your turn is demolish a temple that you've already built. Let's say that you need a level 1 over here somewhere, and you have to use this. You can go back and build it later on. You can simply demolish it by doing that and take this back into your tableau. You can also convert. Now, convert is where you're going to be taking one of an opponent's dweller cards from their tableau and adding it to your own. Now, most of the actions that you're able to carry out, you can do multiple times during your turn, but this one, the conversion action, you can only do once during your turn. Recruitment is another action you can take, and that is where you're going to be taking any number of matching dweller cards from your hand and placing them into your tableau, because you will be able to use them later on for different things. For example, festivity is where you will be able to take 2 dweller cards from your recruitment region and discard them to carry out the effect of wherever they are. So for example, if the deity presence card was here and I discarded those 2 blues, then I'll be able to carry out this action here, which allows me to move one of my temple tiles from any construction site to any other construction site. And you can place the tile being moved on top or below the temple that's already there, if there is one. Another action that you can do is called migration, where you're simply going to draw a random card from the top of the recruitment deck and place it into your hand. And finally, the last thing that you do is you discard down to 5. You have a maximum of 5 cards that you can have in your hand. at the end of your turn. Additionally, you can only have no more than 5 of any one kind of dweller card in your tableau at the end of your turn as well. So at the end, you would have to discard down to 5, either down here or in your hand, and that will be the end of your turn. So to just give you an idea of how fast your turn can go, I'm going to go ahead and go through a sample turn for the green player here. So the first thing we're going to do is draw 3 cards. We're going to draw this one up into our hand, which gets replaced. And then we're going to draw this one up as well. And that one gets replaced. And then, let's see here. Yeah, we'll take one of those blues, and that will get replaced as well, like that. Then on my turn, I'm going to go ahead and play a card that matches the region I want the deity marker to go to, and we'll move it down here. Then we're going to discard 2 of these guys. That would actually be my first action, and we'll place that right there. Then I'm going to discard these 2 guys to perform a festivity action, which allows me to carry out this special action, and I'm going to place that into my tableau like so. And then next we're going to move the deity presence marker. We're going to move it from the region that it's in, purple to blue here, and then we're going to place a worker down in my area to build a level 1 temple there, so we can get started in this level 2, level 1 here. So we've got to get that going. And then we're going to do, so that was 3, and now we're going to do a recruitment action where I'm going to take any number of people from my hand and put it down into my follower area. So that's my 4th action. And then I'm just going to migrate from my last action and draw a card, and that will be the end of my turn. And that continues as each person takes their turn. We go round and round until one person is able to complete the configuration of temples that their deity is asking for them. Person who is able to do that first is the winner. So that's about that for Atlantis, Island of the Gods. Now this is a basically a hand management game, tableau management game, partially because you're using those recruits to play down into your tableau. You're also using them from your hand a little bit, but you also have to use them in a lot of different other ways. But basically that's what this is, you know, there's a lot of resource management, hand management games out there, and sometimes they just have that feeling of just doing the same thing. You know, this game, you're doing that, but it's the same thing as what you're doing in this game, and it's the same thing as what that game does. And it just kind of feels the same from game to game. And this one kind of felt that way. But it has some quirks to it, so let's get to those first in my pros and cons section. Okay, so pros are always first. First of all, the first pro for this one is that the artwork is great. I loved the artwork on the deity cards. I loved the artwork on all of the different areas that were out on the board, so it really popped while it's on the table. And that's what I love it when games do that, because they draw attention to themselves, and that gets people interested. It gets people excited about it, and they're wanting to play the game. And I like it when games do that. If a game is bland and just very abstract looking, for me and for other people, people just are like, meh, okay, whatever. But there's this artistic draw with this game and with other games, and I think that's a great pro when games are able to do that. They draw attention to themselves because of the artwork or the graphic design. My second pro of the game is that it does play pretty well. It seems a little bit cumbersome because you have 5 things that you can do on your turn, but that's alleviated a little bit because you understand that you can do the same action multiple times in a row, with the caveat being the conversion action. You can only do that once. But all of those other 4 actions, if you choose to do conversion, can be the same thing. So turns, while they might seem cumbersome, I've got 5 actions to do, they actually go pretty quick. And that's what I like about it. So you do have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing, and what other people are doing, but the turns go very quickly. And my third pro of the game is that there is virtually no downtime. You are always paying attention to what other people are doing because it's a race. You have to pay attention to where other people are. You have to be thinking about what you're going to be doing on your turn because it's important because you only have 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s, and 2 level 3s. And sometimes you have to use those level 1s to get those level 2s and 3s going. So you can't just willy-nilly use your level 1s because they're easy to build. You have to kind of use that as a moniker on what you're going to be doing on your next turn and the one after that. So there's a lot of thought process. There's no downtime virtually at all. You always have to be thinking. And I like it when games keep you engaged that way. Now, as far as the cons are concerned, well, first of all, symbology. Now, symbology is usually a cool thing. It helps people, if it's intuitive, remember what actions do without a lot of text. And that's one of the blessings of symbology. But if overused, symbology looks like another language. And that's really what kind of happened here. There's so much on the player aids. I didn't even bother showing them to you because they're so confusing if you don't know what they do. So you almost have to keep reverting back to the text so that you can remember what the symbols mean. And that just means that you had non-intuitive symbology, and which is a detractor. It's a pullback because when you have, like for me, Race for the Galaxy, huge detractor with all the symbols and icons that are going on, and I was always having to revert back to the text. The symbols didn't do me any good. That's really what's happening here. A second con for the game is not really from me, it's more from other people that played the game. And that is that it's one of those kinds of games that it's going to go, haha, gotcha, on the first time you play it, because you're going to have to, oh, wow, I shouldn't have built that. I need to tear it down and go back and do it all. And oh, man, I should have done it this way, but I didn't. And because I didn't do it this way, I lost. And it's got that kind of thing where it just kind of go, ha, gotcha. But then the next turn, the next time you play the game, that goes away. Or maybe you still get yourself into those difficulties. It wasn't a huge big deal for me because I did see the necessity of being careful with your level 1s and level 2s at the beginning of the game. And maybe saving that really easy level 1 temple until last when you've already built your other bigger temples. That seemed like common sense to me, but I get it where it kind of was probably frustrating because you didn't necessarily do anything wrong per se, you just did them in the wrong order, and that can be a little frustrating. So it's a minor con from me, but it was a big con for other people. So that's also there. So all in all, I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I did enjoy the game. I think it's a well-designed game. I just don't know that it has that much differentiation between other things. I mean, having the different deity cards that are out there and having those as kind of variable end goals for everybody, that was the difference, I think, between other hand management or resource management games. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to differentiate itself from everybody else. So it's a 6 out of 10 for me. I did enjoy it, but you're going to have to play it for yourself and see if it differentiates itself enough from the rest of the pack. So that's it from me. Thanks for joining. I certainly appreciate it. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care now.